What's up, Vankers?
Hey, hello, Vankers. What's going on with you? Yeah. Abs, they're like, end the chat right now. Fuck off. End it right now.
What the
End
fuck
it
is
right
it?
the fuck now.
It's Brian's avoidant behavior. He just pushes people away that just want to be his friend.
That's right. It's all internalized. I don't know, but we're fucking, it's an off week. This is gonna be coming out later. We got some fucking,
it's fucking mental is what it is.
it's mental, mate. I haven't watched like the new season of Love Island is
this is
on.
great. We're hitting all the positive
Everything fucking
here.
British that they can get.
Yeah,
I know, it's all coming out, isn't it?
No, because
No.
we're gonna take this back to America and you
That's
guys
right.
can go in.
That's right. Yeah, this whole thing will be us just absolutely destroying American culture.
So let us get our shots in early.
We've got the fucking Pitstop boys on the podcast, Jake and Fab. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us. Can't wait to get ripped to fucking shreds.
No. Well, you can do at some point. We will force you to do a shitty American accent, and you can do it as much as
fucking
you
spring break.
It's always the Valley Girl. They always go Valley Girl with it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What is a valley girl?
Exactly.
I don't even know
What you're
valley girl
doing is like my girlfriend always my girlfriend's British. She's always like, "Where's the water?" Like that's her whole like.
Are we gonna go to the beach?
Yeah, exactly. That's her whole.
It's either that or it's like let's go like it's a southern. It's like let's go down to the local gas station.
Yeah, and we always probably and we always to you guys we probably always either sound like butlers or like chimney sweeps from like Oliver
Right.
before.
Oh, when you do the just have a pot of tea, shall we?
Yeah. Can I have some more? Okay, once more.
Well, we wanted to do a fun episode with you guys because I feel like on some level in some alternate like we're just like it's like we both like woke up on the same day being like, let's start an F1 podcast. And like we were in America, like it was something cosmic about the time, but I feel like we're the American counterpoint to you guys in the UK.
Yeah, and we're childhood friends, and I think you guys have known each other for a long time, right? As well.
Yeah, too long.
Since
Yeah.
school,
How did you guys meet? What's your story?
In school, really. Jake joined my school in like year 8. I don't know what the equivalent of that is in America. Like
I don't know, it was like what, like 13,
semester or some. Yeah, I don't know.
How old were you guys? How old?
13 when we met.
So was Jake like briefcase wanker? And was it like
he was the fucking weirdest kid when he came to our school. Like,
so he was briefcase wanker.
Yeah, I guess so. He didn't wear a suit.
We're talking about the greatest British show of all time. We're talking about the In-Betweeners.
Yeah, that is a class show, and the American version was terrible.
Yeah, that is true.
100%.
For you guys listening, In-Betweeners was like the British Superbad, but it was a show and it was incredible. But
amazing. But yeah, we known each other for a long time. Joined when I was 13. Fucking got up to all sorts at school, didn't we?
Yeah. No, it was good. And then we kind of like went our separate ways for a little bit, and then we had this grand meetup, probably about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah,
and it was just like, this is meant to be.
But we never planned to have a podcast or a show together, or even do anything like this together. This is just a laugh for us, really.
And so how did it start for you guys? Because it's like for the Americans, like we didn't even know F1 wasn't even on any radar, but you guys it's like F1 must have been like on the radar, but just like, no, we don't fuck with that. Like we're like more interested in football.
Yeah, weird. What F1's not really like I don't know. When we were growing up, kids didn't really like F1. Like it wasn't like the cool sport, really. It was like an old man sport. Like your dad would probably watch it,
So it's like kind of like hockey is here, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. We just
Drive to Survive, wasn't it?
Drive to Survive.
We like Drive to Survive,
obviously.
But
it's so weird to hear British people like being new to the sport. It's like because when we hear British accents, we just think of like people who've just like been watching it since the 90s at least. So
since they came out of the fucking womb,
I absolutely fucking hate cars. Like I can't stand cars. For me, this is just like the business behind it, the race, like crashes, all the crazy shit going on, the drama.
Right. Every race we're like fucking hoping for a crash. Like, please do something fun. Come on.
Yeah, of course. I love when people like they hear that you have an F1 podcast and they're like, oh, like, well, you should check out my Porsche GT 94. And I'm like, they're like, it's got the turbo. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't care. Does it go 200 miles on the straight at Monza? If it doesn't, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
Is Max Verstappen putting it on Lewis's head? If not, I don't give a shit about what it does.
No, we just came back from Goodwood Festival of Speed, if you know what that is. In the UK. And so many cars, man. And you just sort of stood there like, I don't give a fuck.
I just had beer after beer.
Well,
beer after beer, got through the day. Fucking hell.
Well, you don't care. It's like there was a million overtakes. I was like, well, I don't know that guy has beef with that guy, or you don't. If you don't know about the interpersonal workings of it, then you don't care unless you just to get a boner for a car, which we don't.
Yeah, I was just in Vegas and we went karting. Have you guys done much go-karting?
Ages ago.
Yeah, I done it quite a bit when I was a kid. And my stepdad was like a go-kart champion, so he did it loads. So
nice.
He used to take me when I was younger.
Well, it's like since we started the podcast, I've done it like 4 or 5 times now, and I'm like clinically addicted. It's so fun, but it's like we were at this track where they you could drive a Ferrari around like a real track, and then they also had like a go-kart track, but it was like $1,000 to do 5 laps in a Ferrari, and I was like, get me a Haas. And maybe I'll consider it.
Give me a Haas for like $80.
Wait, was that in
Give
Vegas?
me a Haas for $80, man. Gunter Steiner with a picture of Gunter Steiner on the side.
Was that in Vegas?
Yeah, that was in Vegas. But
there's a lot more things you could have done with $1,000.
Exactly. But there's
which he didn't do.
But I'll warn you that if since you have the F1 thing, if you go karting with people, there's a lot of pressure. It's like you better beat me. Like you better win.
Yeah.
Like you're into F1 and thank God I did beat the shit out of everyone. I was like, because I'm like, you gotta hit the apex. All of a sudden you're an expert.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been like watching Chain Bears like explanations on Racing Line. So I'm like, for the day where I have to go karting again.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, let's get into it. Let's get into what we're here to talk about today.
We're here to talk about Talladega Nights, which is a lot about, it's about racing, but it's also about male friendship, which is, us and you guys. And it's about motherfuckers coming over from Europe trying to fuck shit up, which is what you guys are doing right now. Except it's kind of the reverse with the drive to survivedness of like Americans coming over and fucking your guys' shit up.
Right.
And that's kind of interesting. And also there's a meta thing going on here when you watch this movie again. I don't know if you guys are like, if you read up on stuff that goes on in Hollywood, but there's the friendship of and partnership of Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, which is over now, because Adam McKay and Will Ferrell no longer, they had a company together. They made all these movies together, from Anchorman, a million other movies, Step Brothers, this movie, the other guys. I mean, there's tons of them, and then they produced Eastbound and Down. They did a ton of shit, and then.
By the way, Eastbound and Down is the greatest show I've ever seen.
It's my favorite show of all time. I'm so glad you said that. We are literally twins across the continents, like parallel universe. But
we're just slightly more handsome.
Okay.
Well, we'll put out a poll. And we'll let the people decide.
We'll let the people decide. I will say Matt gets a lot of who is that blue-eyed man on my TikTok page.
Yeah. I've been compared to a Walmart version of Antonio Giovinazzi. So come at me, bro.
And I've been compared to a Walmart version of Pedro Pascal, which someone called me Pedo Pascal, which I had to give him credit for that.
So you're up against some stiff competition. Let's just say. Let's not make accusations that you can't back up. But this is famously an audio medium, so I don't know if any of us are winning any beauty prizes. So they broke up over, so there is a Cal and Ricky sort of thing going on maybe between them in a weird way.
What happened though?
Well, what
happened?
So what happened was, I don't know if you know Adam McKay, he went on to, we know who Will Ferrell is, but Adam McKay went on to do more serious stuff. He went on to do The Big Short. He went on to do that movie. The Big Short was the financial crash movie with Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling and all these big stars.
Yeah.
They got a lot of Oscar buzz. I don't know if it won anything.
Who cares?
It was big. Then he did Vice. He started doing these serious movies like Vice with Christian Bale. then he did this movie with Leonardo. He started doing more serious movies and moving away from what Will Ferrell was doing.
Right.
I see. Yeah.
And this is all publicized. And then he did this movie called Showtime with the Lakers. And he didn't cast Will Ferrell as Mr. Bus, Dr. Bus, the owner of Lakers. And who did he cast? He cast John C. Reilly. He literally cast Cal from this movie instead of Will Ferrell.
Shit.
And
I have to Google this. I don't have a fucking clue who Adam McKay is.
This is amazing.
So
Adam
I can
McKay.
nod my head as much as
Well,
I
he's not-
want,
he's
but
a
I don't have
director,
He's
so
just
it's
a
not like
director,
he's
but
like
he's directed all these movies.
Oh, I thought he was the
Yeah.
movie star.
No,
no,
Oh
no,
yeah,
no,
I see the guy now.
no,
Yeah.
he directed Talladega Nights. He directed
Oh,
Anchorman.
okay.
He was Will
Yeah, yeah.
Ferrell's partner.
Right.
Got it.
Jenny, maybe there's a way to cut this, probably not.
This is at this point, this is a history of fucking Adam McKay. Move the fuck on. We're not really gonna be talking about Adam McKay that much on this thing. We're gonna be
But it's
talking-
interesting.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So then why? So either we're doing it or we're not doing it. But
Okay,
we
well,
start
need to-
now.
you're kneecapping me as I do it.
I'm putting you into the fucking wall so you can get a red flag and get this restart.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a meta thing.
So
So,
then they-
John C.
so-
Riley took his spot.
Took his
John
spot.
C. Riley took his spot.
And then they
Yeah.
broke.
Got
And
it.
then
Cal got his revenge.
Cal got his revenge, and then Will Ferrell and Adam McKay are no longer working together, and it's quite sad because they had a great partnership. So there's that sort of coloring this now that you watch it all these years later, which I find interesting. Anyway,
Got it.
What did you guys find interesting about it? Now that Matt,
I thought it was fucking funny. We watched it for the first time like a couple of weeks ago. Well,
oh,
no, a
you
week
never
ago,
seen
wasn't
it?
No, I'd never seen it. I'd never heard of it in my life.
I'd
Oh
seen
my
it
god.
when it first came out, I think, but I didn't remember anything, so I needed to refresh, and I still probably don't know anything.
We bloody rented it off Amazon, didn't we? We rented it and then we got
We
halfway
rented
through.
it.
We had to do something.
We
Fucking
didn't watch
stopped, Went back 3 days later. We had to pay again to rent it.
I had to do
24
the
hours.
same thing.
So we had to rent it
We'll-
twice.
We'll Venmo you guys.
But no, yeah, amazing film. I thought it's hilarious. I love Will Ferrell. So it is Will
Yeah.
Ferrell, isn't it?
Shake and
Yeah,
yeah.
Shake and bake.
No, I just love his comedy, mate. He's so funny, isn't he?
It is jokes as well, the way he always goes back to that team. But my favorite clip of the whole bit is when he's stolen his wife and then he just rings him. He just rings him like nothing's happened. Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
My favorite bit is when he's trying to convince everyone that he's paralyzed.
And he's like,
Oh,
we just
man,
stick
it's
another
so-
knife in there.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a second knife in there now. He's like, yeah,
No, there's 2 knives in my leg. There's 2 knives in my leg. Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting, like watch, because we grew up like seeing, like, you know, knowing this movie and loving it, and to you know, finally like seeing it within the new context of like actually understanding, like, you know, the mentality or like mindset of a racer, just like how, like, you know, what's fascinating about F1 and what Drive to Survive does so well is like, you're just like, these guys are fucking psychos.
right.
And you know, this is obviously like, this is some crazy heightened version of it, but like, you know,
But not really.
it's not so different. And the dynamics of like the power dynamic between the two teammates, you know, it was giving, I mean, it's giving, you know, Lewis and Valtteri,
Lewis and George, vibes.
and
Yeah,
Lewis
yeah,
and
that's what I
George
was-
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the power dynamics changing and shifting. Maybe I could, you know, you could slingshot me in for a victory.
that was totally, that to me was totally Max and Checo. And he's like, we'll never talk about that. And you bury it deep down inside. Ain't nothing wrong with silver.
Is the whole slingshot thing real though? Is that just for fucking movie?
Yeah, can you actually do that in a NASCAR race?
Well-
I don't know anything about
Well, in
NASCAR.
F1, they actually they argue about this all the time, which is like, whose turn is it to tow?
Right.
Who
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's like a
The slipstream.
slipstream.
And in
You know?
NASCAR, I think
Oh
it's
no,
even,
I meant like NASCAR. Yeah.
I think in
Yeah.
NASCAR it's actually probably more intense because those cars are bulkier, so that like that you're punching the air, you know, you're punching a hole in the air, and I think like you can actually, like, if you're right behind someone, you can like not be on the gas as intensely. Technical podcast right here. But it's like you punch a bigger hole in the air, and in NASCAR there'll be like 3 or 4 cars in a row, so you can really kind of like, you know, get that slipstream. I think it's probably even more intense than an F1.
Yeah, and
F1
they have
slipstream.
the same aero problems as they had to do they have a similar problem with their aero. And like, if you're far behind, you can't really get close, but if you're right behind, you get it. It's the same. I've been reading that it's the same. They have the same sort of characteristics.
Well, I've always
even-
wondered how people overtake in NASCAR because you're literally just going around in circles.
That it actually makes it easier. There's way more overtaking in NASCAR because there's like, it's way more, the track is way more straightforward, and the cars are actually more spec. There's more similar, so that they're going at a more similar speed, and there's more overtaking. But their problem in NASCAR is they don't have the star power. That they haven't been able to market them to people like you and me and get us to care about, oh, this guy's overtaking this guy. You know, it's just not.
And it's also just not as like sexy or classy. It's like more.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you still have grid girls in NASCAR?
I don't know.
I don't know. We've like similar to you guys with F1. It's like NASCAR is just like a thing in the background. It's like
fucking clue.
Yeah, no, we don't. You know, I've never.
It's a regional thing. It's like it's more of a southern thing, western thing.
And you heard about it, like you'd hear about like what if someone like Dale Earnhardt died in like the Daytona 500, and that was like a huge deal because like he was like the guy. Like he was like the Ayrton Senna of like NASCAR. So when he died, and like his son then took over, you know, like was in, you know, he was there at that race. Like that made big news. I remember like I was technically watched. I don't know, it was just on. I did watch that, and it was like that was a big deal. But like other than that,
it was big in the 2000s. It was actually big when Talladega Nights came out in NASCAR. That was like a high watermark in terms of like you'd see it on Sports Center.
Right.
But it's really fallen off. But I guess what I want to say is which F1 driver reminded you of Ricky Bobby the most?
Great question.
I always just saw it as Lewis and George, really. But in terms of personality,
no, for me it is Verstappen.
Yeah, probably
I
Verstappen.
think it's just like Verstappen.
Yeah.
It has.
I'm gonna win. No one else is having another fucking chance. Okay.
Yeah, and if I'm not winning,
stay there.
Yeah.
And if I'm not winning, I'm crashing.
If I'm not gonna win, I'm gonna crash. And not to get too dark, but the dad, the like Trump waiting for dad. Was...
Oh shit! Like Max's dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm the fucking best. I'm the best. Fuck all of y'all.
Yeah.
The attitude they have.
Like you could see Josh Verstappen telling Max, like, if you ain't first, you're last. Like that's how Max lives his whole life.
Yeah. Yes.
And I never said that. I was drunk. That's my favorite bit.
Yeah, I was drunk when I said that. You can be second, third, hell, you can be fifth.
Oh, what a film, man.
I think he was the Michael Schumacher of comedy. I was thinking about this.
Who?
Will Ferrell. Because I actually wrote this out. I gave him multiple champions. I gave him 7 championships.
Okay.
I think he has a very like particular style, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, would you call it dry? Would you call it dry humor? I don't know if it's dry humor or not. No, is
See, that's the other thing that makes him Will Ferrell is Verstappen. Well, it is slapstick, but it's full commitment.
Right.
Like I am committing, and it's like how Max commits, like he's fully on the limit all the time.
Right.
Will Ferrell is fully like on like gas, like stuck, both feet on the gas pedal, no brake.
He's gonna put it into the wall. Like it's like he's
you're laughing or I'm crashing.
I mean, like in Wedding Crashers, like get the meatloaf. I mean, he goes at a fucking 11 at all times.
For me, it's the outtakes. That clip on YouTube from
the dinner scene.
The TV series we were just talking about.
He's bounding down.
Bounding down when he's fucking stood face to face. It was a hot, sultry evening. I had the heat turned up to 32. My young son Gabriel walks in. That shit. So the amount of times that they do it.
You let him watch.
Let the boy watch. I just don't know how they don't crack up.
They did.
Oh, yeah,
you could see Craig Robinson like laughing during the good take where they didn't laugh. He's smiling.
Like, in the actual show, you like if you look, like you'll see that Craig Robinson is like fighting so hard to keep it in. Do you want to do maybe our like our awards kind of thing?
Okay.
So we've got some like categories or like some awards for the movie. We'll wind up talking about the whole thing in the process of it.
So some awards they're gonna be kind of like so
they're gonna be F1 themed because this is a very loose F1 podcast this time.
So first award, I want to say the fastest lap, which is like nominate your favorite moments of the movie, and we can nominate couple different moments, and we can talk about them, and we'll decide what was the best scene or moment of the movie.
Isn't that moment where you said it, where they are all having dinner and he was trying not to laugh? What's that bit?
Yeah, when he
the baby Jesus.
The baby Jesus.
Oh yeah, what when they're praying?
Yeah.
Like that bit's genius.
Oh, what with the granddad and
that's
the
absolutely genius.
And the two sons that are just like, because usually the weak point in a movie is the kids can never act. Those kids are each incredible in their own way.
Well, they called Texas Walker or Texas
Walker and Texas Ranger.
Fucking names, man.
And
to a British people, it's just so American. Like, I don't know how that sounds, but it's just like it's just
hilarious. This whole movie is the embodiment of like brash American energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just in Vegas, and one of our best friends is Italian, and he was like, we were walking through the casino with a fake Venice canal in it.
Did he die?
And he was like, "What is this?" He was like taking pictures to send to his family, being like, "Can you believe this shit?" I was like, "This is America, baby. Like, this is what it is." I mean,
it was like, what have you guys contributed? That was another when they walk into the pit stop. Shout out to you guys, bro.
Yeah, good work.
And he goes, he's like, what have you guys contributed to? He's like, we've invented the blowjob and
democracy, existentialism,
and the blowjob.
They're like, They're like, those three pretty good things. He's like, no, it wasn't. He's like, well, that last one's pretty cool. That last one.
And he goes, pizza, Italy. Mexico, chimichangas, Mexico. Chinese food that is from China. And then America's a melting pot.
I also love in that dinner scene where he has to. It's like the product placement that he has to mention Powerade in the prayer.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
When I watched it.
Yeah, he's like
on the table and stuff.
He's like, I've been slaving over this for hours. It's like Domino's and KFC. But then he has to I mean, these guys are so branded up. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda can't walk through the paddock if he's not wearing AlphaTauri. And I mean, even to the point later where like he sold the windshield, that like he has the wonder.
Oh yeah, the whole thing's got something.
That's maybe my favorite moment of the thing is that like he has a Wonder Bread.
No, it's Fig Newton
on the windshield of his car.
He's like, this windshield is irresponsible and dangerous, but I do love me some Fig Newtons.
Well, it was like, thinking about like all the like psycho sponsorships, thinking about like Rich Energy,
right?
And like Haas changed their entire car to make the car look like the Rich Energy car, even though they didn't even give them that much money.
Yeah, they ended up stiffing
them. They ended up stiffing them, and even when they were like the amount that they were supposed to give, like we interviewed the two authors of the book. They're writing like an expose about Rich Energy and that whole situation at Haas, and they're both like, they were only giving them like $30 million. That's like shouldn't be enough to like make the whole car look like it's a gigantic Rich Energy.
Right. They
30 million's probably fuck all for Formula One though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, 30 million is enough to get Latifi a drive. So and it depends on what team you
wants
are.
that. Who wants that? Where's the money?
Yeah, that's 30 million.
I was thinking about this for the Canadian GP. I was like Latifi and Stroll were their drivers, and I was thinking, as an American, I'd rather have no drivers than those Canadian drivers. I'm just happy with nobody.
Right.
Everyone's like Colton Herta.
Formula One doesn't have any American drivers at the minute. Right?
No. But I think none is better than those two Canadians.
Right.
That's
right.
Point.
I'd rather have none than have a Latifi.
Yeah.
Is there anyone coming up for America that's like a young driver that could?
There's this guy Colton Herta who's in IndyCar who
he's on the Andretti team.
He's on the Andretti team, and if Andretti can get approved, if the other teams can stop stonewalling them, then I think that
all these European fuckheads, these elitist fucks. You guys
have a fucking word with them.
Yeah. Well, wait. Hey. Well, we're about to. Did you guys like hook up with Ferrari at some point?
Yeah, for Barcelona. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you guys are fucking. So you're in.
Well, let's put it this way: when we tell you we're doing corporate work, which that is pretty much, me and Fabs were out partying, getting absolutely slashed until 7:30 a.m. and we had to be at a shoot at 8. So we had like half an hour. They started filming us. They couldn't even put it live. The first clip, we were so hammered.
No.
So
When you were
yeah,
on Sky Sports?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
in Imola. That was in Italy. That
Oh,
was
okay.
Were you hammered
Barcelona
then
we did.
too?
Yeah.
That's how you came into that interview with like that nice bit of sass. Like you like they're like so like you know like you haven't paid attention, like you know you're just learning about Formula One. It's like, how's that working out for you? You're like, seems like it's pretty fucking good, but you're interviewing us on fucking Sky Sports, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
We found out about that 20 minutes before, but I just done 2 days of work.
And then you were like,
think-
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
What do I do with my hands?
No, I think if we had known about it like a long time prior, I'd probably be shitting my pants. But because it came on like last minute, it was like, well, fuck it, let's just drink a bit like alcohol and just get through it.
Right.
Because it's quite intimidating when you're like two random lads. You find yourself at a Formula One race and you're like, fuck, we're in the paddock. What are we?
Yeah, like
what are we
we've never
even
done
doing
this
here?
before,
You
really.
make it seem like maybe we should have picked another movie. Maybe we should have picked Forrest Gump, because you guys are just seems like you guys just find yourself. You're just
You're being woven
moving
into
Honestly, if we had the answers, like I wish we did, but we just find ourselves in these situations. We're like, oh well, let's just fucking roll with it.
Yeah, we don't even know what we're doing for this weekend for Silverstone yet, but one way or another, we'll probably end up there. We just fucking climb a fence or something.
Yeah.
You just wake up in Lewis's in the cool down room, and you're like, what? How did I get here?
Yeah, the hangover
The
vibes.
hangover.
I wouldn't
You wake
even
up,
rule it out.
You're in Lewis Hamilton's flat. There's a tiger in the background.
Yeah, it'll probably happen.
Okay, let's do maybe hottest moment of Talladega Nights, because we at the end of each race we do a hottest moment of the day. What was the
What was the hottest moment? Definitely when they made out.
Oh, at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie, when Sacha Baron Cohen and Russell Ferrell.
Yeah.
Talk about full commitment. I mean, in 2006 to just fully make out with Sacha Baron Cohen.
I will say, that whole kind of narrative on the movie was like, this does not exactly pass the vibe check 15 years later. But the whole movie's like, no, like, I'd rather die than kiss a man.
Oh,
I mean, it's
he's
like
trying to break his arm on the fucking pool table.
You're right.
Yeah.
What was he asking him to say? He said, I won't break your arm if you say what?
I love crepes.
Oh yeah, I love crepes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say I love crepes.
And he's like, and then Callie's like, he was like, listen, I mean, they're really good. And he's like, then he says, what if you just say I love really tiny pancakes? And he's like, it's giving you a pretty good out. He's like, no, but everyone's gonna know what I really meant. So yeah, just go ahead and break it.
Just break my arm. Well, I mean, like, I'm also thinking like, you know, when he drives with the broken, like he takes off his cast and he drives with a broken arm.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's an Alonso move right there.
Yeah. Or when he's when he's trying to get past him before the big crash.
Yeah.
That's Alonso defense.
Right.
I mean,
Alonso's
honestly,
defense. Don't
that
get
is-
him started on Alonso defense.
Wait, what's your vibe on Alonso?
No, he's my favorite.
Oh.
Oh, why do you love him so much?
He's just a handsome bloke.
You just love the eyebrows. That's it.
No, I think he's a bit of a legend, really. I
Yeah.
like he probably should be done by now, but he's just think, fuck it, I'm going to carry on racing. Why not?
Right.
And he's still a class racer. He's just not in the correct car.
And he's fucking. I just hate Ocon. Do you hate Ocon?
I like Ocon, but then to be fair, we don't really support or follow anyone. We just whoever's winning.
Sure.
Say we like them. No, yeah, we like Ocon, but I prefer Alonso.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matt.
Alonso's the
We
best.
love
don't you-
Alonso, but Matt
Why
especially.
don't you like
loves
Ocon?
him.
Why don't you like Ocon?
Why don't we like Ocon?
I get nothing from him. I don't understand. He's been beaten by literally every teammates, and he's still like rated it highly for some reason. He got like a 4-year deal. He doesn't have much personality. He's beating Alonso by a bunch of points, even though Alonso's been out qualifying him. It's
I
just
feel like Alonso deserves to
Alon-
be like Alonso's had bad luck.
Do you think
Like
there's a bit
little-
of a strategy going on there in the team? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's just bad luck, honestly.
But yeah, I mean, he's got the French thing going. I feel like
Yeah.
Ocon
Ooh,
has
tinfoil
just
hat.
a bit of like he keeps kind of failing upwards a little bit, and
Yeah,
like he keeps getting beaten by his teammates, and it's like if he is the front runner for the next Mercedes seat when Lewis leaves, I'm kind of like that guy, because you know Toto's his manager.
Was
just,
anyway.
Oh, is that not the thing anymore?
No, I
don't
think
know
he
if-
still is. Yeah.
I think he still is. Yeah, it's just like how you have Toto
But
vouching
we
for
don't.
you.
We know fuck all. By the way, we know
Yeah.
nothing. So,
Well,
us
neither do we.
confirming
Yeah,
something
yeah,
is probably
yeah.
wrong.
No one comes here for accurate information.
Okay, good. We're in the right place.
We like to say our feelings don't care about your facts. So, yeah, I feel like I just hate Ocon, and I actually want to see him. Like I was thinking about in Talladega Nights, it's like the best F1 driver would never just like leave and go to NASCAR. You would have to be like kind of through.
Mhm.
It would kind of be like if when David
Right.
Beckham goes to the MLS, it would have to be like over.
Right.
Yeah, but I
Eh.
don't see any Americans coming to F1. I feel like they'd be like, fuck the F1. I feel like NASCAR for Americans is like their blood almost.
No, they would die to.
Well, it depends. I
They
mean, it
would, yeah.
depends. I think, like for a lot of IndyCar drivers, that you know, F1 is a bit of the thing, and like like that guy. But I recently found out that like in IndyCar, there's like there's specific training that you have to do for F1 that you wouldn't have to do for IndyCar. Like IndyCar, you don't have to like have as much neck strength. Like you don't have to worry about your neck as much because I guess they're a little bit more like locked in to the thing. So there's not as much like movement on their head. I did see it when I was just go-karting, I saw a girl get T-boned, and the whiplash that this girl must have gotten was like insane.
Really?
Yeah. And she like kept driving, like there was a high speed. I mean, it was like 40 miles an hour or something like that. And like someone crashed, then she stopped, and it was just like basically like a pile up. And this guy just came in full speed, hit her T-bone, and her head was just like on a wobble. And I was like, get her out now. But she was like, I'll keep going. She like finished the thing. And then we like saw her later, and she had like an ice pack on her neck, and her boyfriend was just kind of like
She got like a
rubbing her
fucking
back.
arm off. She's like, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, so Colton Herta, who's the guy who was the Andretti thing, like he's specifically training for F1.
I think you need stronger arms.
And
too.
you need not as strong arms. They all have really strong arms because there's
In
no
IndyCar,
power.
yes.
Yeah.
There's no power steering.
There's no power steering in IndyCar, so like when you're moving, you have to like they all have their forearms are all jacked up.
Yeah.
Whereas in F1, you know, with the power steering, you don't need to have as strong of a forearm.
Yeah. Americans are all about the arms. Europeans are all about their legs.
All
Amazing
F1 drivers
point.
are about 4 foot tall, and they weigh about
They are all tiny, aren't
they
they?
weigh about 8 stone, yeah, whatever that is in pounds.
Yeah. Have you seen the there's a video of Toto, Valtteri, and Lewis all like driving around like, you know, Mercedes AMG cars. And like you see, and Toto's like racing with them, and like there's just a picture, they're all in the racing suits, and Toto is just like towering over them in a way that like you would not believe.
Yeah, and he looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he looks like a man among boys. Like he fills out that suit the way it should be, I feel like. He looks like a Marvel superhero in that fucking racing suit.
Well, it's almost like sometimes with like movie stars, it's like, you know, like Tom Cruise is like 5'6".
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like
Really?
yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Cruise
yeah.
is tiny, and he has a
Yeah.
tooth in the middle of his face. Have you seen that?
Yeah, yes. Yes, I have seen
Like
that.
if you draw a line down the
Yeah,
middle of his
yeah,
face,
yeah.
one of
Oh,
his
yeah.
front teeth is like slap bang there. It's so weird.
Yeah.
the vein. Wait, what do you mean the tooth in the middle
No,
of his
his like, so you know how like your teeth
Yeah.
and my teeth, there's a gap like right where the tip of our nose
Uh-huh.
is. He's got one tooth
His teeth are like twisted to the
flat
side.
in the middle of his face.
Wow.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's his it's
his
say it
only-
with me,
his-
to say it with me, his one and only flaw. Because that man is perfect.
Did you guys see Top Gun?
No, not yet. No, we haven't yet.
So you guys hate America?
I haven't seen it either, so I guess I hate America too.
Yes.
But apparently it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
Um,
we
It's,
it's really good.
basically an F1 movie.
like you're watching, they're pulling like real. I mean, they flew the actual planes. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise flies the actual
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah, so when Lewis Hamilton talks
fuck,
about
really?
G's, like he doesn't know shit. He doesn't have shit on Tom Cruise.
Well, Tom Cruise also he at one point did some like
He drove an
collab.
F1 car and
Yeah.
he crashed it. Like,
With
he couldn't
Red
do
Bull.
it.
So I
No,
saw
but he-
that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he did
He-
pretty well though. They were
yeah.
like he's doing well, but then he spun out. He was
Yeah.
testing the limits of the car.
Yeah, that's how you
Um,
find limit.
That's how you find the limit. Okay, so who do you think driver of the day for the move for Talladega Nights? Who won? Who?
It didn't have to be the
Oh no,
winner
was
of
you
the
who
movie.
won the race?
Who won the
movie? Which character? Which actor? Who's like your favorite of the movie?
It's got to be Ricky Bobby for me.
Yeah,
all day,
yeah.
all day. I do like Sasha, but I think because I don't know. I just think Will Ferrell has just something about it. He kills me over, man. Anytime he says anything, he could say nothing and it just cracks me up. So any movie he's in, he's like number one for me.
Yeah, I like movies, but I find myself a lot of the time I'm always watching Will Ferrell stuff. So I was buzzing that I've never seen this film before because it was absolutely hilarious. And yeah, I just love Will Ferrell. I've been walking around making loads of jokes about Ricky Bobby since. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. It's got to be a
yeah. I mean, yeah,
I'm the best there is.
I'm the best there is. I wake up every day and I piss excellence.
Piss excellence. Yeah. What about for you guys? Who was your favorite?
It has to be him.
I mean, it has to be him. I guess like favorite, like you maybe do like favorite like line or moment of his. I think because like when we all saw that movie, like when we were growing up, it was like I wake up every day and I piss excellence. Like we used to say that to each other all the time in in high school and middle school.
Yeah. I mean, Will Ferrell was like our personality trait.
Yes.
Like Anchorman.
Yeah.
So you guys went to school together as well?
Yeah. So we kind of similar to you. Matt came to the school that I was
briefcase wanker.
He was briefcase wait in sixth grade. So we were 11.
Yeah.
11 years old. And what was interesting was that Matt went to Hebrew school with like all of my friends. I was Jewish, but I didn't go to Hebrew school. And like they were all like, "Oh, our friend Matt from Hebrew school is like coming to school." And I was like, "All right, who's this fucking new guy, Matt?" But then all of a sudden he was just like in the friend group. And I was really small when I was a kid. I was like built. You know what? I could have been an F1 driver. But Matt was kind of like we were immediate enemies. We were like,
because everyone grew up with Ryan and like knew that he was small, and I just got there and like it was definitely like it was obviously like me just trying to assert myself, being like, this kid's short, you know.
Well, I also had like I had a Napoleon.
Let's fucking pick on it.
I had a Napoleon complex, so I was like, who the fuck, like, hey Matt, like, what you think you're like big, you're big time, like, let me show you what it's really like here in this friend group. And he was like, you're 2 feet tall. So we hated each other for a long time.
Yeah, it was a bit of Sacha Baron Cohen and Ricky Bobby,
right? And
you actually look a bit like Sasha now. Well, come to think of it.
Oh yeah.
We're both Jews with big noses, so.
But like,
time's up on you, my friends.
But we like eventually I'm an actor, Matt's a screenwriter. We found our common interests.
Yes.
And then by the end of our senior year of high school, we were very close by that point. We did a sketch comedy show together that we wrote and both were in. And then the plan was that we were always we're gonna make movies one day, which like we're still, working on.
Yeah.
Might happen at some point.
Yeah.
But we were like, we're not at a point where we can like have that power.
Yeah.
No, we could do a absolutely stupid F1 podcast.
But here's the thing is like, here's a really loaded question. In your relation, because I always think sometimes like, because I'm into this show Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And there's like, I'm always like, there's always a Rick and a Morty in a relationship. In any relationship, sometimes like there's always like the one that's kind of following along the other one. And I'm like, who's the Cal and who's the Will? Who's the Ricky and who's the Cal Naughton in your guys' relationship?
Why don't you guess first?
I feel like Jake is like kind of like, we're doing this, let's go, and Fab's kind of like, all right, let's fucking do it, man.
That's fucking spot on.
Is that spot on?
Yeah, that's fucking perfect.
Wait, but wait a minute. Is the guy who sends the Zoom and does all the clerical work, is he really the Ricky though? Or is he actually the Cal?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
See, here's the thing. What I feel within our dynamic, I'm like, Matt's got the pace. Matt's like, he's the talent, and I'm the like, I can hang, and sometimes I can get in there, but like, I'm organizing more stuff. I'm editing the TikToks, but I'm like, let Matt rest because he's got to be on for the pod.
Oh, no, I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel that way. I actually
We're lucky.
Yeah,
we're lucky because Fab like it specializes in sound and shit, like all this stuff I have no idea about. That's why like all this is because he makes music, right? Amazing music. So that's why
Right.
knows how to do all this shit. And then I do video because I've done this for a while. But this is new for Fab. Like Fab's never done anything online before. So
yeah, Jake's been in the game for literally since we left school. He's done video, YouTube his whole life.
Fab, you couldn't look more comfortable. Fab looks like he's melting into the couch. like I'm not sure if Fab even has a body.
Actually, I have no bones. I'm a sack of flesh and blood, and that.
Look at you on the screen. You actually do look like you just sank.
Yeah, I mean the power dynamics of like, I mean, you know, at this point, some of this stuff, it's like it's fun, but then at times it definitely feels like a job. It feels like work at times.
Right. How do you guys like? Do you guys ever have like? Hey, maybe one time I could be slingshotted.
Well, what we do is what I'll say is that what we do is like sometimes when we're recording it, it's like one of these is going to be a TikTok, like let's make it pop, and I've been performing. Matt's like a behind the scenes person when it comes to like doing. He writes, and I've been performing my whole life. And I like did stand up before and stuff. And so has Matt. But more recently I've done stand up, and then like so sometimes it's like Matt will have a great idea. Like he'll have a great take, be like, "Oh, that's a perfect analogy for this person." But I'm like, Matt, just like hand me the ball and let me score the touchdown. Like let me slingshot me, and I will take us to the
better
promised land.
car.
Right, give me the better car. Give me you can take the old wing and the old front. You know, like, give me the new power unit, and I will fucking put the shit on
Brian the better strategy.
But the thing with us is that we didn't really know when we first started the podcast. We didn't know how it was going to go. We didn't even know if it would even be funny. Because we were just thinking so much about like we need to make sure that we know our facts and everything. But then we got 5 minutes into our first episode and it was like this is ridiculous. And we started like it was just hilarious. So when we started pulling our clips together, we didn't even intend to be making those clips like for TikTok,
right,
and for everything else. But now that we know that it works, I guess we can like if there's a funny situation coming up, we can make it funnier.
Yeah, we try and spread it. So like in our podcast, every now and we don't have any plan, right? It's like, welcome back to the podcast, chat a load of shit. You're done 20 minutes later, but one of us will just intro it. I mean, it's so very level playing field with us. Right. I mean, any idea floats. We even do the shit ideas because sometimes they're the best.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's so great about what you guys do is like, it's, you know, knowing things. There's plenty. You can go to other places if you want to like know shit. We're the wrong place for that.
Yeah,
we want people same as you guys. It's entertainment about something that isn't fucking stat after stat after stat. Like,
and then eventually you do start to like, you know, you start to know some stuff. You know, it's like there's an element where like you know, with my friends who don't know anything, they're like, oh, like you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm like, well, you should read my TikTok comments because
we know some, but we could probably have a 5-minute conversation about Formula 1.
I can tell you Latifi's shit. I can tell you,
I went through a brief 1 week where I was like, I'm gonna start defending him, and then he just made it impossible.
Yeah, we were kind of like, it's at this point like everyone's shitting on Latifi, so like let's start like liking him just to be a bit like, you know, go against the grain, and then like he, you know, just put it in the wall.
Yeah, it just ruined a race. It just it was like kind of like hating Mazepin. It was just kind of like, all right. I mean, not equating Latifi to Mazepin, but it's just like he's just the easiest.
It's easy target.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find it a shame because like we spoke to some F2 drivers and F3 drivers. We just want all these young people that we know to like get in as quick as we can. Like if there's someone who's just not doing anything, we're just like get someone new in. But we don't know how it works. How often can they change a driver?
Well, what I don't understand is anybody that's like, well, you know, Lance Stroll got pole this one time or this. It's like, what are you arguing for? Like when you look at basketball, when you look at soccer or football, when you look at all these sports, you're like, I am positive that Kevin Durant is the best. Right. I am positive that Messi is the best. Like there's nobody like at a checkout counter in fucking Singapore or somewhere that is better than Messi. Like that's not happening.
Do you reckon? I don't think Messi's the best.
Okay, or we're not.
We don't know. Okay. Whoever that is for you, we're like, he's the lowest hanging fruit for Americans.
Okay, but the thing is, in F1, the best F1 driver is probably not he's probably, or she is probably in Malaysia somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's so true because they don't get the opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
They're-
And
without a doubt, the best drivers in the world will never be found.
right.
There's only a
And-
select amount of people. There's such a small pool of people that are going to get this chance, and they have to
Right.
have majority of them have to have mega rich families.
Right.
So we're probably
Right.
never going to find the best drivers.
Right. Well, and even the drivers that that have been found, there's only 20 seats. And let's see, we have Mick Schumacher, we have Latifi, we have Stroll. Now, what's interesting is I've learned more about Joe recently. Joe is a real paid, like his family is rich as fuck. They built a track for him in China, like just for him.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But he's actually proving himself. So like,
Yeah,
okay,
he is.
so I'm like, okay, if you can compete, fine. But the other three, it's like, what are you doing? Like whoever argues for you, because why? Because you're Canadian. Like nationalism is stupid. Like that. Look at World War II. Look at World War
Stroll will
I.
probably be there for a long time though, won't he? Because he's not even on a contract. He's just signed. He's like not on a times contract. He'll just be there as long as it's Aston
They
Martin.
should just
As
they
long
should
as
hold
his
a
dad's
race.
alive.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
should hold a race like once a year where there's like fucking 60 drivers on the grid, and they all just fucking just go and just see who comes out at the end, and whoever comes out at the end, they just put them in a race.
No, it should just. They need to. In my opinion, F1 needs to bring in a knockout thing like football.
Like
where the bottom
relegation.
three
Yes.
drivers where they get
Leagues and
relegated,
shit,
and then the
yeah.
F2 team comes up, or drivers come up, and then they could F2 and F1 forward go down, forward come up. I don't know, something like that. That
That's
way
a-
you wouldn't. If you're at the bottom, you go down where you should be, and then someone else gets a chance in. But
That's a
money wise,
great
it
idea.
wouldn't work.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
And then you wouldn't, and then pay drivers would be worth less because you're like, okay, do I want, if I have this shitty driver, then I might come in last. Also, like people who say Lance Stroll won F2, I was reading about, he's like, well, he won F2 or he won all these I read about this. Lance Stroll's dad bought the F2, bought the teams that he was in at that level, and then he had Williams design those cars. Okay.
Oh, wow, I didn't even know this.
Yeah. So he had F1 designers designing F2 and F3 cars. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
So like, so
It's a stacked deck.
he's a stat, like even so like the whole like, well, he won this one or he won that one. It's just like, it's bullshit. It is bullshit. Okay. So the only true blue people are guys like Lewis, and in the beginning of Talladega Nights, where he's a mechanic.
Right.
That's basically the Kimi Räikkönen story, right?
Right.
Kimi Räikkönen was a mechanic, and for this guy, I forgot his name. He was a mechanic. I forgot his name. Some
I didn't know that either.
Finnish name, and he was this guy's mechanic. And then the guy he was mechanicking for, realized that he was quicker than he was, so they were like, "Let's switch."
I didn't fucking know
And-
that.
Yeah, and he became his manager, and yeah.
So Kimi Räikkönen's the Ricky Bobby.
Kimi
of F1.
Räikkönen. I mean, Kimi Räikkönen was born in the wrong country. He is basically.
Yeah.
He wants to be American, like
He's just naturally American. I mean, I remember when I saw him on Drive to Survive, I was like, who is that dude from fucking Ohio?
He doesn't give a fuck about anything.
He's
Yeah.
just, he's tatted up. He's got the Oakleys. He's
Yeah.
got I was like, this guy, he's
He's
NASCAR. Well, isn't he? He's about to go to NASCAR.
He's going to NASCAR.
He's going to NASCAR.
Is
Yeah.
he really?
Nah,
Yeah.
No way. I love
Yeah.
Räikkönen. How did we not know that?
we don't know
Yeah.
anything, man.
It's pretty.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna go to NASCAR. Which I'm like, thrilled about. I'm like, give me a reason to watch those. Give me a reason to
Yeah.
watch the race.
Yeah,
Which
But
we
we'll
also
probably
see.
watch it now. We will watch NASCAR now.
Yeah.
yeah, because they finally have a personality.
And we'll see. There's if depending on what happens with Danny Rick, I could see him.
Do you
Going
not
to
think this
NASCAR
is
for a bit
exact?
as well.
Do you think that same with what you do is, and why people love it is because you just said NASCAR will have a personality, but I feel like after Drive Survive, they gave the sport and gave the drivers personality, and that's
but
why the audience is now huge.
But they've always had a personality. The thing is,
Well,
they
NASCAR like has a personality, just like it's
they
the
didn't. Well, what's
It's just
interesting is
no one ever knew about it. Though.
right, exactly.
Right.
NASCAR. I'm sure all these guys have personalities. They just
Oh,
haven't.
gotcha.
right.
They just haven't been able to tap into it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched clips where they've talked about how the NASCAR, they've actually tried to button these guys up. Because what's crazy is a lot of these NASCAR guys, they are like Ricky Bobby.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. NASCAR would probably be more entertaining.
Yeah, but they have all these corporate sponsors, so they try to button them up and media train them up and make them presentable. But that's what's killing them.
Yeah, people don't want to see that shit. People
don't want to see that shit. They want Ricky Bobby.
Right. Well, Botas is just naked on Instagram like every day. It's like, you see that his girlfriend posted it. They were like on a street. He was like above a waterfall.
Yeah.
And then like you see him, it's like you can't see him. Then he just rises from the thing and he's just naked. It's just his
majestically laying.
Majestically basking in the sun. And even like the Mercedes admin is like posting these like shirtless pics of that they're loosening up all of F1. People are, just like everyone's like, yeah.
Oh my God! But I'm sorry, but George is no replacement for Valtteri.
This was something I said as well.
George does not have the pace when it comes to like social media.
Yeah.
No, he's too much of a good guy, isn't he?
I hate George Russell. How do you guys feel about it?
Fuck that guy.
No, I'm a big fan of Russell.
Why do you like Russell? What's there to like other than that he's quick?
That he's like British, young. I think he suits Mercedes perfectly. They want like a buttoned up, professional looking posh guy who is well media trained, that is going to support the brand. And he is a good driver. Like he's in that car, he's doing well. His record this season is pretty untouchable. If you'd said to him at the beginning of the season, you'll be sat where you are in the points and being in the top 5 in all these races, he would have bit your hand off.
Yeah, he's like the fucking head boy at Hogwarts. Like, who fucking likes that guy?
I guess a question of like of the British, like how do you guys feel in terms of like your allegiance to like the British drivers, and like if you had to like Lewis, George, and Lando, like where do they fall for you guys?
Oh no, I don't care. Just
no, I don't
fucking
care really.
British.
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like a British.
No, we're not like patriotic or anything. We don't love the Queen. We're not. None of that shit.
Okay.
But I'd love a British driver to win this weekend.
You want a French driver to win? Oh, at Paul
would be cool.
Yeah. Right.
But most weeks I support Verstappen because I just think he's entertaining. But it's getting boring now because he wins every week, so I need to start supporting someone else.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I just vote for I'm the Joker. I just want chaos. So I was rooting for Max last year because I wanted chaos. And then now Max is getting too far ahead. I'm like, can we get Leclerc back in there?
Yeah, well, I want Perez. I mean, it's like I'm just hoping that Perez can start challenging Max, and like that would be just incredible to see.
Need a bit of drama between them two in the paddock.
Yeah.
I need them to fall the fuck out.
I want to see a fucking brawl. Like take their helmets off and just start going at each other.
Who do you think would win in a fight? Like if we did octagon, whole paddock.
Yeah,
the whole pack, all 20. Oh wow! But Royal
Rumble, exactly. Who do you think?
Okay.
I think Max has got the fire, isn't he?
Joe's gonna jump straight out the fucking ring.
Why is Joe jumping out the ring?
I don't reckon he's gonna take the fight.
Because he's wearing Prada.
Yeah,
he's wearing Prada.
Yuki won't take the fight either.
If Kimi was still in, Kimi would have fucking smashed all of them.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
Kimmy, I think, has the highest pain tolerance.
Yeah.
Kimmy's like, you could punch him in the face and be like, and what else do you have?
I don't give a
shit. I don't give a shit.
Question, actually.
Fernando Alonso would hold his own.
Yeah, Fernando's
he's pretty small, actually. Like I saw him next to some guys, and I'm like, he's a shrimp.
I could see.
But then the tall guys are like Albon, and I can't imagine Albon doing a lot anyway. So.
Well, the tall guys have to be so skinny that it's like they would just snap. Like Ocon would just snap his leg. Snap him like a twig.
Yeah,
Ocon wouldn't do shit.
To be fair, Verstappen might not be a bad bet. I mean,
Verstappen's got the fire, but
he's like seems uncoordinated. But he seems like very uncoordinated.
He's one of those guys that will just fucking throw punches, doesn't care if they miss or not. He's just throwing like.
I feel like have you seen him work out and you see him run? He's very gangly and awkward.
Yeah, he kind of doesn't like. The rest of these guys are like or like I'm a fitness influencer, like I'm a fitfluencer vibe.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Gasly obviously is like
Gasly looks kind of yoked, actually. I feel like Gasly would do pretty well.
Gasly's in it for the pics, but it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like
Those are show muscles.
Those are show muscles, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like you know, Max is just like working out in that little like back room that he has in his apartment and deadlifting like a 15-pound kettlebell. And he's like, but I will beat the shit out of you on the track.
Yeah. Yeah. Lando wouldn't do shit. George wouldn't do shit. Ocon wouldn't do shit.
It's quite hard to pick one out of 20.
You're like,
what
they
what about
all
if
are-
you had, what if it was a tag team match for Ferrari versus Red Bull? Then who would win?
Oh.
2v2.
Oh, I like Sainz. I like Sainz.
Sainz in
Yeah, Sainz has got
Yeah.
I think Sainz would do well.
Yeah, to me, I'm like Sainz and
Leclerc would probably.
yeah, no, Sainz would have to lead the way.
I don't know. Perez. I reckon Perez has got a little bit of fire.
I think Leclerc would get slapped.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Perez would just
Too much of a
fire.
pretty boy.
Paris might have that
Let's
like
set
that
it up.
dad strength. Might have that like when you shake like a father's hand,
Yeah.
he crushes
Breaks
it.
every bone in your hand.
And we saw that, you know, it's like Perez, you know, he might be Mr. like cheeky, but you know, after that Monaco
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
When he's coming off the boat and he's
When he's
Yeah.
coming off the boat.
Oh my god! And the shoes in the water.
fucking hairs like a bird's nest. Like,
Fab's like, that's a live shot of me 10 minutes before my Sky Sports interview.
if I'd have looked like that guy at the end of next year's Monaco, we failed.
That's what I wanted to say about Amy Adams was.
Is that the blonde woman?
She's like his assistant.
She
plays the
she's the
assistant.
redhead with the
Oh, the
glasses.
guy who he ends up getting with.
Who he ends
yeah.
up with at the end of the,
Yeah,
at the end of the movie.
She's
Oh,
ended
yeah,
up. She ended up becoming like this huge, serious actress. But when you see her in this movie, you're like, oh, she's funny as shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes these dramatic actors, I feel like they get trapped in their own. They get
Mhm.
kind of trapped by their own success, and you
Mhm.
forget that they're actually really funny. But like, I feel like two of her best performances were like that moment in this where she's like, Ricky Bobby isn't a thinker. Ricky Bobby is a driver.
Yeah.
And you wrestle that limit between, whatever. You wrestle it to
If
the
you
ground.
guys were going to be in movies, would you be in comedy or would you be in a more serious type of thing?
That
We tend to
probably more comedy.
write towards comedy.
But we don't care, honestly.
Yeah. We'll take whatever we can get. I think I like. I mean, personally, it's like I feel like more of what I go out for, what I'm in, like the TV show that I'm on. I'm like kind of like comedic relief, but I'm always like, but I'm Hamlet. Like it's a classic thing. It's
Well, you always want what you can't have.
you always want what you can't have.
Yeah. Agony beyond power. But but I think when you become like a big actor, you stop taking those silly comedic roles,
Right.
and then you sort of become serious. But Amy Adams, she did this movie called Enchanted, which was incredible, where she's like funny and she's singing and she's charming, but it's like this fun, like almost kids movie, but it's incredible. And I think that's kind of what happened with Adam McKay is he stopped wanting to do the funny movies and he wanted to do the serious movies. And you get a hint of it in this movie, Talladega Nights, where they start talking about like Halliburton and Dynacore.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, it's Adam McKay. We start to see the hint of, and he goes, what have you contributed to the society other than George Bush?
The way you do the voices perfect every time.
Yeah, well, yeah, McKay like has now like there's a bit of like a righteous like let me fucking like criticize society, and this is the beginning. This is a real criticism of like capitalism and America and American greed and American like excess. This movie is like a complete indictment of it.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
But then his later movies, they're more serious. But that's sort of what happened with Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell wanted to keep doing this because in Hollywood, I feel like you're either one or the other kind of. It's kind of hard. And Adam McKay is like, I'm a serious filmmaker now. I don't do Anchorman anymore.
What are your guys' like favorite like comedies like growing up?
My favorite film ever is Happy Gilmore.
Okay, amazing. So we're right on. We're right in.
Exactly.
I just saw some of my friends who were in Vegas. They Friday night. They were like, they got home. They were like, we went up watching like all of Happy Gilmore last night, and I was like, incredible, right? They're like, we hated it. And I was like, it's
why?
I don't know. They're snobs. They're snobs.
Who is this?
My friends, you don't know. My
Okay.
friends from college. No, it's incredible. I
My
love it.
other friends.
What
And
about
Billy
you,
Madison
Fab?
was also that water boy,
Yeah.
wedding singer.
What about you, Fab?
Anything with Will Ferrell in it, quite honestly, I fucking love Anchorman so much. The first one is better than the second one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Anchorman. What else has he been in? I love Step Brothers because I
Step
grew up
Brothers.
watching that shit.
Yeah,
You
these
know?
are the kind of things we would have watched.
Old school.
Yeah.
Elf.
I haven't seen Old School. I haven't seen.
You haven't seen Old School?
Oh
Old
my
School. Old School's
God.
the Old School was the beginning for him. He was like the side.
Yeah.
He wasn't even the main character.
Yeah.
He's just the.
He's brilliant. He's the
He's-
best part of that movie.
And Vince Vaughn too.
Yeah.
I mean, Vince Vaughn and him were like throwing 100.
He's great in Wedding Crash. I mean, he is the cameo in Wedding Crashers, but he just crushes it.
Yeah, I mean, he had that run there. That's what I said. It was the Michael Schumacher run. Where he won I gave him 7 championships. Let me find it. So I gave him. So Michael has 7, right? So I gave him 2. So Michael Schumacher dominated the 2000s, just like Will Ferrell. So I gave him 2 championships because he ran SNL in the 90s. So he joined in 95, right around when Michael Schumacher won his first championship. So we're gonna give him
Study this, man.
two comedy championships for SNL. They did Old School in 2003 and Elf. So he did Elf and Old School in 2003. So that's 2 World Drivers Championships.
Yeah, that's a valid year.
In
big
1
big
year. Then an Anchorman in 2004, and that was me and Brian's entire personality. Talladega Nights in 2006. That's 7 championships.
That's his run.
That was the and
He had the power unit.
and also Step Brothers. I mean, he was on a tear in that 2000 in that aughts era, and
Yeah.
I feel like the only person that's ever matched him really. Who's matched him? Eddie Murphy, I think, is the only person that's ever matched
Yeah, like in
him.
the 80s.
Murphy's
he-
an absolute genius. His old stand-up,
Yeah. Well, those
yeah,
are 2
genius.
championships. Delirious is 1 championship.
Delirious,
Raw is
man.
another
Oh my
championship.
god, Delirious is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, Trading
Trading
Places,
Places.
48 Hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going on an absolute tear.
Who's the current World Drivers champion of comedy right now?
For comedy.
I
We're
mean, you
talking
could
to
argue
2 guys, but just to I'm going to set the scene right now. We don't watch many movies.
That's okay.
Like-
Not knowing things has not stopped us before.
Yeah. Knowing
Have you guys
this,
seen
you'll
the
be
new
at the
Jackass?
Oscars next year.
Have you seen the new Jackass?
I've
Oh,
heard that's good.
greatest movie I've ever seen, maybe.
The recent one.
Yes.
I thought it was funny because we watched it together. I thought it was funny. It's like it didn't have anything on the old ones for me. The old ones are fucking genius,
Interesting.
like Jackass too.
I think I was just so happy that it was existing again.
Yeah.
I was just like the way that you laugh watching Jackass is unlike any other laugh. Like you can watch like Talladega Nights, you can watch like a regular comedy and you're laughing, but the laugh that you watch with Jackass, because it's like there's such tension, like they make you feel so tense, and then the person gets hurt, and then when it like there's that added release. It's like the DRS straight to the gut. It's like I laugh so hard watching those movies. I feel like Danny McBride is a little bit like he's got some like Alonso, like 2-time champion kind of vibes.
He's bound
He's
down.
one of my
He's down.
favorites.
Well,
Definitely my favorite.
he also like in This Is the End, it was all these like funny, like the
Right.
funniest people they could find. They were like, let's get the funniest motherfuckers that we could
Oh,
find.
shit, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
This is the end, when it's the end of the world and they're in James Franco's house.
Oh, when we watched it and the ground
That's the
opens up.
funniest shit, man. When my favorite scene is when there's that guy, he's hanging on, he's in the massive pit in the garden,
Right.
he's hanging on, he turns around to I can't remember who he turns around to, he's like, you can take my full weight. You can hold on to my full weight. He's like, yeah, bro, yeah. And he grabs his hand, and he just slips like immediately. I don't know why I found that so funny.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and then Danny McBride was like, I'm funnier than all.
Right. Danny McBride crushes that movie.
Yeah.
And it's like Seth
Yeah,
Rogen
he's-
and Jonah Hill, and he's
Yeah.
kind of like the I'm here, I am doing stuff, and he just bodies it.
That was that he was like driver of the day of that movie.
Right.
He didn't maybe
Oh, for
win.
sure.
Well, maybe he won.
He came from last.
He came from last.
He had to take an engine penalty.
Late start.
Yeah.
He was Lewis in Brazil last year.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Because you guys are like, what was your favorite race last year?
When did we start?
We started in like Mexico. It's like
Wasn't America the first one?
America or Mexico.
Okay, you started.
We had no idea there was a title battle going on, by the way. When we started watching, absolutely no clue that there was this massive battle.
It was just like, oh, fucking every race must be like this. Wow, this is sick.
And then Brazil was like one of our first races, right? And I've heard about Lewis Hamilton my whole life, but never watched Formula One. And watched that, and I was like, oh shit, that is why he's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
Do you have any friends that like have been into Formula One their whole life, and they like watch you going to these things, and they're like, what the fuck?
Our friends don't give a fuck about what we're doing. They literally don't give a shit.
I've had a few mates that I've like met over the years that I didn't know they're into Formula One, and then now they're posting more about it. They're messaging like, can't believe you're there, all this shit, and it's just funny because
I think this is important for us to hear, because I think like from our impression, like the impression that you get is that like everyone in the UK is like obsessed with Formula One, and what we're hearing from you guys are like, nah, it's definitely not true.
Well, I know my girlfriend couldn't give a literal
still
shit.
Tiny. It won't be big over here until they start playing it in open spaces, like for example at pubs or in bars. Like with football, they do, so people go meet there and watch it, but they don't show the Formula One there. So until they start doing that, their audience is always going to be at home.
That's so true, isn't it? Like the Brits, like they'll go to the pub to have beers and like watch the game, whereas like no one goes to watch the F1.
You just sit at home on your own or with your friend or with your family.
Wow.
Like they need to make it a public thing. That would be the next step they do for the next level.
They should change race day to a Saturday so everyone can get fucking sloshed afterwards. Do you know what I mean? On a Sunday, everyone's going to work Monday.
But then what about the whole weekend, Babs?
They start like qualifying Friday.
But just all the practice on one day.
All the qualifying on one day.
That's dog shit anyway. Cut the practice. It would be much more fun with no practice. Straight onto the fucking track.
But yeah, we get to hear that like fucking, like Mick Schumacher had fastest lap of FP1. You're like, what's happening here?
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, in New York, where I live in New York, but I'm out in LA right now. There's like one bar in Midtown that plays the races, and it's like packed every time. But then I've started to like, there's a bar in my neighborhood that like, there's this one guy that I know who is like obsessed with F1. So we've gotten some people to like go and watch it in bars. It's so fun to watch it in a bar, because when you watch it, and you're like, I mean, and you experience it maybe like actually being at the race. But if you're watching it in a bar and like there's a slow pit stop, like the entire bar erupts.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, normally you'd be like, what, like I brought friends who don't know anything about F1. They're like, why is everyone freaking out right now? They're like,
it was 4 seconds.
I was like, it was 4 seconds. Oh, that's a lifetime. That's a lifetime. Like when Lewis came out, Max came out behind Lewis in that last one.
Yeah.
And he was like screaming at them.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my God. To the untrained eye, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But no, it's so fun to watch at a bar.
You guys are fucking losers.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you came out behind.
It's definitely getting bigger over here, but it's still tiny. Like in comparison, like I'm massively into football, so in comparison, it's so small.
Yeah, it doesn't even hold a candle. Yeah.
No, but it will. It definitely will.
I didn't even know there was room to grow in England, but now
oh god, yeah, it hasn't even started. It's tiny.
Interesting.
Like, I see more of my friends putting stuff about like Wimbledon and tennis on their story than I do about F1. Genuinely, like, because I think even though it's big in England, the majority of the audience is the people that still aren't hot on socials. Like the people that like older audience. There is a younger audience coming, and it has blown up, but it's gonna blow up.
The thing about football is kids can be into football at school because then they can go play football on the pitch.
You don't get to do go-kart in school.
Or you can't just take a Ferrari around the field at school.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the limitation of the thing in general. But what's fascinating about F1, which is maybe part of why we've gotten into it as much as we have, is that like it's more indicative of life than other sport. Other sport, it's like it's just feels more like a meritocracy. Basketball is like Steph Curry can just hit the fucking 3-pointer and other people can't. And I know that Messi, you guys don't like. You're like, Messi's fine. He's like, whatever. But it's like Messi can do all this. It's just like a kid can rise from, the talent can be found, whereas how deeply unfair F1 is precisely kind of what makes it fascinating. The fact that it's not a meritocracy, that it's not like best guy wins. It's that's what is so fascinating about it to us.
It's also interesting because when I watch soccer, I'm like, I could never do that. I could never run that fast. I could
Right.
never kick the ball that way.
Right.
I could never dunk.
But you could
put
drive.
me in
I
a
can drive a
fucking
car. But I can drive a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And there is an element, there is something relatable to that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Why do you think you guys fell for F1 so hard?
Well, I mean, there was a significant gap in the market for us to do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in England, like
Right.
for example, if you watch Sky Sports, that's what we were watching on in England. It's great, but it's still mainly aimed at people that know what they're listening to.
Right.
And we didn't understand any of that shit. And like, I think we were watching one of the races and we were just chatting shit about it. And then I'd gone, imagine we were filming this, because we're just asking all these questions back and forward. And then we just randomly podded it. But yeah, I agree with you. The beauty of it is that these people are just fucking rich. They've got these seats that other people would want. And that's why Drive to Survive is so fascinating, because you want to see these people get angry. You want to see these people have issues. Like
It's like
that's
Big
what
Little
makes it so
Lies.
exciting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just like it. I don't know fuck all about it, but it's good.
We were going to do a boxing page first, weren't we?
Yeah, we were going to do this about boxing. That was like a
Interesting.
plan which we didn't go down. I'm glad we didn't, because it just wouldn't have had the same mojo or like.
But Pitstop started as an Instagram page with me and Jake posting like the stats and facts. So like the
That's
audience,
the funniest
the
thing.
audience that we got in the beginning, we completely conned them because they were like, "Fucking hell, these guys know everything. Like they know how many races like
Straight
Kimi
off
Räikkönen's had in
Wikipedia.
the last 10 years." And then as soon as we put our face to it, I think our whole audience was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Who are these guys?"
You
They don't know
you
anything.
catfished them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
You guys
scammed them all.
did your first quiz and you were like, how many wheels are on an F1 car? And you're like, 4. You're like, you nailed it. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's full.
These guys are my trusted. This is fake news.
Guys, these guys are just Googled stuff. This is
But
bullshit.
it definitely resonated with some people because there is so many new fans. So
No, of course.
I
That's
think
what's-
the people who know about Formula One are probably laughing at us, but find it funny.
I find it funny that Fabs loves this because he doesn't even like any sports. So like Fab doesn't like sport at
Nah,
all.
hate sport.
But you're interested in this a bit.
I like food. I like the sofa. And that's about it.
And Formula One.
And Formula One, yeah.
Well, you can watch it while you eat food in the sofa. That's you brought your two.
You can't,
All
you
weekend.
can't eat a beautiful spaghetti while you're running around playing football. So.
Yeah, I feel that too.
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe we should do the quiz.
Yeah, let me
All right. We know you guys.
Oh,
we know you guys
shit.
love a quiz. I'm going to give you a quiz, the Pitstop American Motorsport Quiz.
Shit.
Okay.
read them.
Yeah. So,
I can't see.
when was the first Indy 500?
Oh shit.
Oh,
Oh no.
Who the fuck do you think we are?
What's that?
8500.
A-
Gonna go. Oh, it's multiple choice.
Multiple choice.
Yeah.
Choice.
That helps.
A, 1911. B, 1946. C, 1952.
We're being nice. We're only giving you 3.
I
Mm.
think
Formula One was the 50s, right?
Indy 500 might have been around quite a long time.
You think before F1?
No, not before F1.
So 50, you say 52? 1952, did you say that?
No.
Yeah, that was
later
C. Yeah, 1952.
than
Final
that.
answer for both of you?
No, they're giving us multiple choice.
What, and is that the latest one?
Yeah. So I think my mind is telling me 1946.
Go with your gut, Fabs. Go with your
1946.
gut.
1946.
Is that for
Alright.
both of you?
Yeah,
Interesting,
fuck it. I believe in it.
Interesting power dynamics.
That is incorrect. It was
Nice.
1911.
Oh shit! What the fuck were they racing horses?
Yeah. I know. It's like, did they even have cars back then? Yeah, 1911. Okay,
Wow.
number 2. Yeah.
That's nuts. Were they like Formula One cars?
I don't even know.
What did
I
they look
mean-
like? What did the Indy 500 car?
It was like steam power. They were loading charcoal.
Car.
I mean, yeah, it might have been like, you know, like those like kind of like big wagon, like kind of like basically just like a horse and
Model
carriage,
T type
basically
of-
based off of like a horse and carriage.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Oh, it looks like
Alright.
something you get at like
That's legit.
amusement park, like a kid's toy.
It's like a train.
It does look like a train.
It does- it looks like a train with wheels.
Train with wheels. Okay. Question number 2. Who is the only American driver to have won the Indy 500, the Daytona 500, and the F1 World Drivers Championship? A, Phil Hill. B, Mario Andretti. C, Alexander Rossi.
The funny thing is, you could be telling us random names and we still wouldn't know who they are.
Andretti's ringing some bells.
that Rossi one sounds like someone.
Yeah, Andretti also is
Yeah,
just in the back of my mind.
does it? I don't think the first one. Do you?
It's not a very American name though, is it, Mario Andretti?
Yeah, but you don't have to be American to do it.
Oh,
Ah.
wow.
I
I
reckon,
just learned something new.
I think it's that Rossi geezer, whoever that is.
Okay, we got Rossi from Jake Fab.
I'm sticking with Andretti.
Okay, so
Fab got it. It's Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti.
Oh,
Let's go.
So technically, Mario Andretti, who we actually the episode that was released today, we interviewed Mario Andretti. He is the only.
Shit.
oh,
He's
Len.
technically he's
You never heard of him. Shut up.
well his
That's really
his,
fucking
That's
cool.
so cool, guys. Well done.
his son runs the Andretti motorsport team in. They have a Formula E team, and they're the ones that are trying to break into F1.
Okay.
And Toto Wolff and Christian Horner are like, you need to pay us more money because you're going to dilute our funds. But Mario Andretti, he grew up in Italy, but then was a refugee after World War II, and then came over to the States when he was like 12 years old, and was an American citizen. So he is,
Raced in all these.
and he won Indy, Daytona, and won the F1 championship in '78.
Yeah.
Okay, so
78 years old.
no, in 1978.
Yeah,
He's probably around 78 years
Oh,
old.
he's
Yeah.
like 80 now.
Yeah, he's in his 80s now,
yeah.
and he still does 2-seater. He's still like he still
Races.
drives. He still
He still
races.
tests.
He'll take like a 2-seater car around the Indy 500 track and like race like Lady Gaga, like whenever like celebrities come through. Like he
He crashed in India at like 60 years old.
he was like he was like 63, and he was
still racing in Indy.
he was like doing a test run because one of the drivers like was sick or something, and he fully did like 3 flips.
Yeah,
at, like
no,
age-
full 3
Wow.
flips. He did like a rugby ball, like spiraling
Yeah.
end over end.
He's got nothing to
Like,
lose though at that age. Like he could just fucking drive however he wants.
He's a legend. All right, so Fab's up on Jake.
Okay,
All right, number 3. I'll take it.
where has F1 never raced before in America? A, Las Vegas. B, Indianapolis. C, Road America, Plymouth, Wisconsin.
I'm gonna say Wisconsin. Why
Uh,
are you laughing?
Because you said Wisconsin with such derision.
I'm gonna say Plymouth.
With Wisconsin?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, wait, no.
Yeah.
What was the middle one? Because they have raced in Vegas. I know they
Indianapolis.
raced.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's the one I want to say. Indianapolis.
You think they haven't?
F1.
raced
No, I
there?
don't think F1's been there.
Okay.
Lock it in.
What have they? You know they have.
I've got no idea.
All right, I'm going with Plymouth. Plymouth, Nevada, whatever it is.
Plymouth, Wisconsin. But both of you saying Plymouth, Wisconsin.
If it's
You're both right.
Both correct.
Both
Yes.
correct.
Woo!
Fab just saved you on that one. He was
Yeah,
like,
cheers,
it's your
It's
funeral,
your-
man. Okay. All right. Number 4. Where is the Motorsport Hall of Fame in America? A, Daytona. B, Indianapolis. C, Austin.
It's gonna be a guess, isn't it?
I'm gonna let you pick first.
Oh, this one's
Yeah,
gonna be a guess.
last time I went, it was in Austin. So I'm gonna say Austin.
Well, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're really judgmental over something you also don't know, but I want to hear
I'm
your
gonna go Daytona.
Okay.
Final
Locked in.
Final answer.
It was Daytona.
Yeah.
You went. Wait, Jake. You went to the.
No,
you
no,
went?
I didn't.
Clearly, no, you didn't. I don't know what the guy told you.
Okay. Oh damn, Jenny gave us a lot of these. Okay, okay. Where did the term stock car racing come from? A, Ford Motor Company being listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Well, it's not that
I don't
one.
reckon it's that one.
B, the stocky square shape of the original cars. Or C, bootleggers, people who sold alcohol during Prohibition, made their cars look like stock, aka normal, on the outside to reduce suspicion from local authorities.
Yeah,
And
I'll probably go with the third one.
Yeah.
I think the third one.
I'm gonna go with the first one. That sounds ridiculous about stock market.
And it's the third one.
Wow, yeah.
They mentioned it in Talladega Nights.
They say it in Talladega
Oh.
when he splashes him with the water and he's like, when was
yeah.
how was this founded?
Yeah.
And he's like, they started, they souped up their cars, make them look normal. They started racing each other.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I picked
Bootleggers.
it.
Man,
And that was actually one of the best parts of the movie where he puts the blindfold on.
Oh my god, we didn't even get to that.
And then he crashes right into the house. He's like, you should probably pull out. And then he puts the blindfold back on. And he goes, no, not with the blindfold.
Well, he's got the race. He's got the cougar in the car.
Yeah, the cougar.
I will say, as a that I think Daniel Ricciardo is suffering from a little bit of like the Ricky Bobby syndrome.
He saw the fear.
He saw the fear,
He saw the fear.
and he needs to go race around with a cougar in his car.
Yes.
And get back to
Locked
his
in there with a
and get back to his
fucking
greatness,
Well,
because I want to see him.
Yeah, I
I
want
want
to
to
see
see
him
some do some. I
dominate.
want to see him dominate. But okay, let's do one more. Okay, when and what year was NASCAR founded? This is the final question. What year was NASCAR founded? 1908, 1928, or 1948?
Wait, can we ask a better question?
Yes.
What's the current penalty for NASCAR drivers getting into physical fights after a race?
Yeah. Okay. This is what we have to end on.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the
This
current
should be
penalty?
cool.
Yeah, of NASCAR drivers getting into a physical fight. What do you get fined?
A, 20,000 fine and 1 race suspension. B, 100,000 fine and a written apology. And C, absolutely nothing.
I hope it's nothing. Right? If it's nothing, I'm switching fucking sport.
If it's anything like ice hockey, yeah, I'd say nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm gonna go with 100 grand and written apology because I feel like they'd have to add something.
I think no fucking penalty to let.
Really,
Let
I hope it is.
scrap
If
it.
it's nothing, we're switching sports.
It's the
mate.
American way.
The answer is
Absolutely nothing.
No
See?
way.
Watching the wrong
That
sport,
is
my friend.
lit.
Remember when Max touched the car and he got fined
Yeah.
$50,000?
Oh my god! Is there
Yeah.
fights a lot in NASCAR?
They have.
There's a history.
Yeah. I think there was one like kind of recently. Yeah, they were, and but they had like the helmets on still, so they were kind of like smacking it. It was like a little bit of a football vibe.
Yeah, there's been a long history of fights in America by the track. We had a guy named Willie T. Ribbs on who was talking about how it was very customary, and he actually got suspended from some racing series because he punched some guy.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. The Pitstop boys are switching to NASCAR. It's officially happening. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This was so fun.
Thank you for having us, guys.
And where can the people find you?
Just Pitstop. I know everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Pitstop Instagram, Pitstop TikTok.
MySpace,
We're
MSN.
not on any of them.
You guys are British, so my girlfriend still has a Hotmail. You guys have a Hotmail?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wonder what you said. A Hotmail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lurking
yeah.
somewhere.
I got a
Yeah.
fucking Hotmail.
Yeah. You guys enter in some chat rooms?
How about
Well,
hotel and shit?
This was so great,
Yeah.
and thank you for coming on. At the end of what we like to say in honor of Gunther Steiner, we start Gunther Steiner. We enter each episode saying hello Vankers, and we leave the episode saying goodbye Vankers. So would you care to join us in a goodbye Vankers?
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
yeah. Do we all do it on 3 or something?
Yeah, you guys.
You guys go first.
You guys go first.
Goodbye, Vankers.
Goodbye, Vanka.
See you later, Vankers.
Goodbye, Vegas.